know, it's a convergence of all these, a perfect storm.
Now at 10, Salt Lake County's struggling to find and keep qualified attorneys. How pay in the pandemic are creating a shortage seen nationwide.
He was in this standard flow of screw people over, file bankruptcy, start over.
A Weber County man posing as a contractor pleads guilty to several charges, including fraud. We sit down again with one of Trace Conlon's victims to find out how his case was resolved and if justice was served. And
if this would occur again, I would have done the same exact thing again.
Fiery crash in California, putting a rookie police officer to the test. How his quick actions likely saved the driver's life.
Live, we're there for you. ABC4 News at 10 starts now.
Welcome to ABC4 News at 10. I'm Glenn Mills.
And I'm Emily Flores. We thank you for joining us here on this Tuesday night. An attorney shortage here in Utah threatening to delay hundreds of legal cases. Tonight, the Salt Lake County District Attorney asking County Council for more than $300,000 to help fill their dozens of vacancies right now. ABC4's Jillian Smuckler joining us live from Salt Lake City. And Jillian, what are they saying is to blame here?
Well, Emily, there's a few things for this. So first of all, there's a nationwide shortage of lawyers right now. And then you have the pandemic, which caused a backlog of cases. And then you have people who are just choosing to retire or change their careers altogether rather than dealing with an overwhelming workload from all of this. So as District Attorney Sim Gill puts it, they're dealing with the perfect storm.
This is really an urgent scenario for us, and this is not something we're going to be able to sustain.
District Attorney Sim Gill says his office has 26 attorney positions open right now that he can't fill.
We need to be market responsive. So right now, it's a buyer's market if you're a lawyer.
The reason for this is because there's not enough lawyers to keep up with the demand.
So you have law firms competing for these positions, then you have government agencies competing for those same positions.
This is partly due to the fact that fewer students are choosing to go to law school. In 2018, the DA's office had 187 candidates that they consider qualified apply. This year, it only had 91.
Now, our two law schools, for example, this is probably one of the lowest incoming classes for both of the law schools.
And when you add in a backlog of cases from the pandemic to the mix, it creates an overwhelming workload for the lawyers they do have.
It certainly runs the risk of impacting those cases, how quickly we can respond to them, especially for those cases which are victim-centered. We want to make sure that we have the proper staffing to ensure the public safety that our community deserves.
In order to do this, he's asking County Council to approve more than $300,000 to help fill these positions. He believes this will help attract lawyers who are otherwise going to private sectors because they're offering higher salaries.
We all have a shared responsibility in the kind of community we want, the kind of justice that we want to deliver to our victims of crime, and public safety is everyone's concern and should be everybody's concern.
And Gill says he will go back to the council next week to answer some questions they still have after today's meeting. And he's hopeful then that's when they're going to decide to grant him the money he needs to hire more county prosecutors. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Jillian Smuckler, ABC4 News.
Thank you, Jillian. New at 10, deputies in Wayne County capturing a sex offender hiding in Utah after escaping a Kansas mental hospital. 42-year-old John Freeman Culp, you see here, has been on the run for nearly 3 months. U.S. Marshals posting a $10,000 reward for information in the search for him. Someone sending a tip to the Wayne County Sheriff's Office saying they saw the man who looks like Colt making his own campsite in the area. After a brief chase, deputies did take him into custody. He is currently being held in the Sevier County Jail before returning to Kansas.
Also new at 10, a BYU Idaho student arrested after driving to meet with who he thought was a 14-year-old girl for sex. According to the East Idaho News, 25-year-old Spencer Kagan Rawlings was actually talking with an undercover Idaho Falls police detective, while Rawlings allegedly asked the supposed 14-year-old to send him nude photos and asked to meet her to have sex. He drove 30 miles from Rexburg to Idaho Falls, and he's currently booked into jail. In southern Utah now, a deadly crash with an SUV and a cement truck. One person killed, several others injured in the crash. The accident happened at the intersection of Highway 56 and Iron Springs Road earlier today. Officers arrived to a cement truck collided with a white Ford Explorer, as you're seeing here. 5 people were inside the SUV. Police say that the female driver died and all 4 passengers were taken to the hospital with critical injuries. The driver of the cement truck was not injured, and right now the cause of that crash is still unknown.
New at 10, a public records request in Florida tonight revealing that Brian Laundrie's mother checked into a campground in early September. According to our sister station in Florida, the record from Pinellas County shows Roberta Laundrie checking into a campsite at Fort DeSoto Park between September 6th and the 8th. Now, according to the family's attorney, the family camped from the 6th until the 7th, and they all left the park together. Brian does remain the sole person of interest in the investigation into Gabby Petito's disappearance and homicide.
Meanwhile, tonight, while Gabby Petito's family continues to mourn her loss, they did take some time with the media earlier today. The family speaking out, honoring her life with new tattoos. They also announced the creation of the Gabby Petito Foundation that will give resources and guidance to families of missing people.
Through our tragedy with losing Gabby, that in the future that some good can come out of it.
Now, the coroner in Wyoming ruling that Petito's cause of death is indeed a homicide. Her family now praying for justice.
New at 10, the University of Utah planning a candlelight vigil for football player Aaron Lowe, who was killed in a house party shooting over the weekend. The vigil is planned for tomorrow night. It'll be from 7 until 9 p.m. on the southwest lawn of the Student Union building. The president of the university and players from the football team are expected to speak at the vigil. ABC4 News is there for you. Make sure to stick with us for the very latest developments and continuing coverage on the case of Aaron Lowe. We'll have the updates here on air and online, abc4.com.
All right, switching gears now for a first look at the forecast, and it got chilly quick out there.
No doubt the winds of change blowing in, Alana.
Yeah, Tuesday brought those changes. We definitely dealt with winds. We've got some showers out there, and we know that the winds were whipping throughout the day. Our Colonial Flag Tower camera laps kind of showing the cloud cover that moved in. We know that we were seeing those clouds on the move as well as those showers popping up. You watch as those northerly winds keep the flag moving, and boy, do they feel chilly. You notice that change. Highest wind gusts 31 miles per hour in Salt Lake. Look at Wendover, Delta, Price, Cedar City. So we saw those gusty conditions, and for a bulk of the day, wind advisories in places like Box Elder and Tooele County. Temperatures right now 40s and 50s and continuing to drop. 53 in Salt Lake, 78 in St. George, 47 in Logan. We are going to see some pretty frosty conditions settling in. We also have wet weather out there. You notice how those storms developed in central Utah throughout the afternoon, and still active skies with showers in long portions of the Wasatch Front and in eastern Utah. As we kind of zoom in, you're able to see that line, echoes of moisture there, as well as some thunder and lightning over on the eastern side of the state. We're tracking those storms and those chilly temperatures. 30s on the backside of the Wasatch, 40s for the Wasatch Front. We even have some 20s in there. Yeah, these frigid temperatures settling in tonight, but we're not done. What you need to know for tomorrow, and where is the snow falling? Yeah, that's happening. I'll check in with you on my full forecast in just a few moments. Glenn, Emily, over to you.
Thank you, Alana. Now to a story we first told you about back in March of 2020. Court records showing a contractor accused of incomplete jobs and taking his client's money, admitting guilt in several cases. ABC4's Jason Wynn speaks with one of the victims who says he's glad to get his family's money back.
17 months ago, ABC4 News featured 6 different families complaining about unfinished construction by this man, Trace Conlon of Riverbend Cabinets.
He was in this standard flow of screw people over, file bankruptcy, start over.
Matt Arnold tells us he hired Conlon for $1,500 to hang drywall in his basement.
Are you a licensed contractor?
I have no comment.
Is your client a licensed contractor?
No comment.
Court documents show Conlon never had a contractor's license. Cases opened up against him in Davis and Weber counties.
Through the court system, we found out that Trace pled guilty.
Arnold says prosecutors tell him he'll get his $1,500 back in full.
We're pushing almost 2 years now. It's kind of crazy that it actually finally came through to where we can call it done and never have to look back again.
Those who tried to work with Conlon tell me this was a hard lesson in hiring a contractor, and they want Utahns to learn from their cases.
just fully check people out. Check Better Business Bureau, check their reviews. Just do your due diligence and make sure you're getting who you think you're getting.
In Salt Lake City, I'm Jason Wynn, ABC4 News.
Thank you, Jason. We'll continue our coverage of Utah's housing crunch. A new study shows that housing in Salt Lake City, Ogden, and Provo is some of the most overpriced in the country. Research from Florida Atlantic University tonight ranking the top 100 housing markets based on home prices that are above their expected long-term trends. Well, the analysis found that Ogden was the third most overvalued in the country, with Provo in fourth and Salt Lake City at eighth. The city taking the top spot was Boise, Idaho, with homes overpriced by 81%.
In politics tonight, pressure mounting on Capitol Hill over negotiations for several costly bills on the president's agenda. Republicans and Democrats divided on two infrastructure bills, a $1 trillion bipartisan bill rebuilding roads and bridges, and then that $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill focusing on child care, early education, health care, and climate change. Progressives warning that they will vote no unless there is an agreement on the larger plan.
There is no agreement on that larger economic package. You will vote no for the bipartisan package on Thursday.
I would vote no, and so would 50 others.
Lawmakers also facing a string of critical deadlines. In less than 72 hours, the government is set to shut down.
And in national news tonight, a gunman sentenced to life in prison after shooting and killing 5 Capital Gazette employees. This was back in 2018. 41-year-old Jared Warren Ramos pled guilty to 23 criminal charges in connection to the deadly newsroom shooting. During his trial, Ramos claimed insanity and says he was not criminally responsible. A jury shutting down that claim. Today, a judge bringing an end to the long legal battle, handing down 5 consecutive life sentences without a chance for parole. And now to some unbelievable video out of California tonight. You're going to want to look up at your screen. A rookie police officer in San Jose being praised for pulling a man from a burning car. You see it all on body camera video here. Officer Pedro Garcia was just driving by when he saw a car on fire with a man inside. The driver's shoes were already melted to the car by the time Garcia arrived. Well, he immediately jumped into action, saving the man's life.
It happened just out of nowhere, and I just knew his life was at risk, and the first thing that was going through my mind was just get him out of the vehicle before it was just covered in flames.
That's exactly what he did. Well, Officer Garcia has been on the job for only 8 months. He was not injured. That driver, of course, taken to a nearby hospital.
Coming up, helping Utah's homeless population. Meet the officer who is building relationships with the unsheltered. That's in tonight's Behind the Badge.
And there's a look at the Albion Basin. Those fall colors popping, looking like fall out there, and we'll start feeling like it as we head into tonight. Those frosty temperatures taking a hold. The reason why in Utah's most accurate forecast.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy, Weather Rate certified 10 years in a row.
All right, with more of what we can expect this week, let's head over to the forecast.
Alana, say it isn't snow.
The S word, I know, in September, but yes, it's out there. But we're going to start off with some gorgeous fall colors. This is from Pando, which is that colonial cluster of aspens near Fish Lake. Is this the prettiest pop of color you can see in central Utah? Scott Taylor sending it our way. We know many places in Utah looking like fall, and after tonight, we're going to feel like fall. Those temperatures dropping with the help of that cold front coming through. Wet weather lingering. We're going to track those storms. I'll tell you exactly where they are. The whipping winds, advisories dropped, but we did see some healthy wind gusts. Snow for some, yeah, it's out there. I'll tell you what to expect, and then that autumn chill moving in tonight, but sticking around. I'll tell you for how long. Those storms developing in central Utah this afternoon, becoming more widespread this evening. Spotty showers along the Wasatch Front, but we are watching those storms move into central Utah and eastern Utah, dealing with some thunderstorm activity. Let's get pinpoint with exactly where those showers are as we look at the storm tracker radar. Right there, ooh, some mixed precipitation as that wet weather moves towards the Wasatch. We definitely know that the thunderstorm activity near Castle Country and towards the Uinta Basin. We've also seen that near Delta. We zoom in, Flaming Gorge getting some echoes of moisture south of Vernal, and then from Evanston all the way through Payson and the I-15 corridor, and then down in central Utah over I-70, Sunnyside, Green River dealing with some lightning, and then Milford all the way down towards Enterprise, so into Cedar City and Enterprise, so Iron and Washington counties. We also are dealing with snow. It's falling, as in it's fall, so now snow is falling. Here we are at Snowbird. This is what it looked like, some fresh snow on the snow stake, which means the leaves up there, they're going to get a dusting tonight. Yeah, we've got that snow falling above 7,500 feet. That snow level will dip to 7,000 feet, and the model really shows accumulation possible over the Uintas. We're also seeing that towards the Wasatch, south central Utah. Cold temperatures and that snow level dropping as we head through the overnight and into tomorrow morning. So we could see some snow-capped mountains for the start of our Wednesday. High temperatures were in the 60s and 70s, 73 in Salt Lake, but that was at midnight. We steadily declined in temperature throughout the day with the help of that front. Made it to 80 in Moab, 85 in St. George, but again, that was right after midnight, and then those temperatures continuing to cool. There's that line of moisture as the front continues to make its way through the Beehive State, staying active in eastern Utah and the central portion of the state. As you can see, those storms hold on even for tomorrow morning with some lingering moisture in eastern Utah with that cooler air filling in behind it. So we know we're going to feel the chill tomorrow. Temperatures dropping. We've been dealing with the 80s. Get ready for the 60s, folks, because that's what's settling in. So to recap, storms on the move. Tomorrow, cooler temperatures. Eastern Utah has the best chance of seeing that wraparound moisture. And then into Thursday, slight chance of, again, some lingering storms over the Uintas. But other than that, fairly dry. Look at those temperatures. 60s. 40s for the overnight along the Wasatch Front, 30s on the backside there, 67 in Moab, 61 in Cedar City, 79 in St. George. Here's a check on what to expect for the next 7 down there in southern Utah. A day in the upper 70s and then clearing as we get later into the day, 80s as we get through the rest of the work week down south. Here's a look at the Wasatch Front. Whew! It does feel like fall. It's crisp. I'll go with that. 61 for tomorrow, 67 on Thursday. More seasonal for the weekend with sunshine and warmer temperatures. We dry things out just a little bit. Overnight lows tonight are going to be cold. Chilly start to the day tomorrow. Glenn, Emily, over to you.
Behind the Badge, brought to you by Big O Tires.
Local law enforcement agencies putting a focus on the homeless and their struggles with mental health.
Yes, and for one police detective in Midvale, it's his everyday job. ABC4's Brian Carlson introduces us to him in tonight's Behind the Badge.
Handling a homeless person having a mental health crisis isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. But the man we meet in today's Behind the Badge says it's something he actually looks forward to. He says it's what being a police officer is all about.
Seeing the homeless in Salt Lake County, few people know them better than Detective Mark Utley with Unified Police.
It's my job to go interact with them, try to help them and assist them.
Working out of Unified's Midvale precinct, Utley specializes in helping those suffering mental health issues or people living on the street.
He'll take a little plastic like this and he'll wrap himself up and sleep in the box. This is his home. This is where he sleeps every night. You okay with that?
Utley tells us his main job is building relationships of trust.
Bring you some food. All right, buddy. I love you.
To hopefully get them in a more safe situation in the care they need.
When you interact with these people out in society and they're yelling and talking to themselves, they scare you. But if you actually get to know them and understand the mental illnesses that they have, there's some really, really good people that are there, and they just want to be just like me and you.
He estimates 60% of police calls are responding to those experiencing mental anguish or struggling with stable housing. It's why Utley spends as much time as he can working to qualify them for places like Midvale's Lifestar Village Family Support Center, a privately owned facility providing a stable place to stay and options to progress.
Once they're past phase 2, they can move and buy these homes that are in phase 3.
Why Utley is passionate about helping the homeless is simple. He says every officer becomes a cop to make a difference, and here he can see it.
Do you feel like the medications helped you or didn't help you?
One of his favorite stories is with the homeless man you just saw. Detective Utley says that man recently found a wallet with over $160 of cash still in it. IDs, credit cards, the whole thing. Because he trusts the detective, he says he walked all the way to the police station, waited for over 24 hours for him just to turn over the wallet with all the cash and the ID still in it. He says it shows you how good some of our homeless with mental health struggles can be and what you can get developing relationships with them. Back to you.
Craig Smith and the Runnin' Utes tip-off practice today. We're going to hear from the new Utah head coach and which team is coming home with the wagon wheel. We're going to hear from both BYU and Utah State next in sports.
Time now for ABC4 News Sports with Dana Green.
If you think the BYU-Utah State rivalry is one-sided, think again. The Cougars and Aggies have actually split their last 6 meetings, and Friday night showdown in Logan features 2 pretty hot teams. Is the battle for the old wagon wheel still a rivalry? Well, depends on which team you ask.
I've never seen Utah State as a rival. I know that there's the wagon wheel and stuff, but I've only played them once. I didn't play them the last time that we won it. I mean, I just see them as another team.
I do consider them
a rival, but I feel like oftentimes there's people who really dislike us, and to us, they're just another team.
Everybody that I've met since I moved to town has made it really clear to me how much this rivalry means to them, and this is one we got to win and need to win. I get all that. I love college ball for rivalry's sake.
Since they started playing for the Wagon Wheel Trophy back in 1948, it's traveled to both campuses, as tough as it may be to move.
That wagon wheel's heavy, man. I'm not really, but at least you can roll it.
Yeah, you're not lifting it up by yourself. That's for sure. It's pretty stocky. But I'm, hopefully looking forward to lifting it up again with a couple of my teammates this weekend.
Ranked 13th in the country, this will be BYU's first true road game of the season, and they're expecting a hostile crowd at Maverick Stadium.
The more hostile the environment, the better for me. That kind of just brings out a different competitive side to me, in my opinion. Especially up at Utah State, their fans like to talk a lot. Their players like to talk a lot, so it's going to be a really high-intensity game.
We need them bigger than ever on Friday night. We need a packed house, electric, loud. We need to make BYU as uncomfortable. This is an opportunity to beat a top 20 team, an in-state opponent, and a rival.
Big scheduling news for BYU. They've officially locked down Notre Dame October 8th of 2022 at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Notre Dame has owed a game to the Cougars for almost a decade. They last played in 2013. The Fighting Irish currently ranked 9th in the nation, while BYU is 13th. Well, the Craig Smith era has officially begun at the University of Utah as the former Utah State head coach has taken over the Runnin' Utes, who tipped off practice today. After Larry Kristoviak got fired, 6 players left the program, including Utah's 2 leading scorers, Timmy Allen and Alfonso Plummer. But Craig Smith has brought his patented energy and enthusiasm to the program.
Obviously, we had an exodus of players, which has become common for some programs in general. Certainly when you're a new coach, that's going to be a theme, but I'm fired up.
The Utes have 8 new players, including 2 former Aggies, Raleigh Wooster and Marco Anthony, to help ease the transition.
They know exactly what to expect from us, from myself. And certainly we're doing some things different. You got to adapt to your team and your roster, and we're a lot different team than we were at Utah State.
Smith expects Booth Gotch's transfer back to Utah to come through, and he's relying on returners like Riley Batten and Brandon Carlson to provide leadership.
Those guys have been through the Pac-12 battles, right? They've been through the league. They understand the travel. They understand the level of competition.
Smith and Utah State qualified for the NCAA tournament in all 3 of his years there. Can he get the Utes back to the big dance for the first time since 2016?
Is that going to be tough to do? Of course it is. It's going to be very, very difficult to do. I've learned a long time ago, comparison's the thief of joy. We're a different team, but the truth is you just never know how things are going to come together.
Utes tip off the season November 9th. How do you not love Craig Smith's attitude and energy?
And that smile, you just can't help but smile.
It's infectious. It really is. It really makes you smile.
New feel up there for sure.
All right, thank you, Dana. We'll be right back. All right, well, finally at 10, you'll want to listen up because you may weigh in on this. Salt Lake City International is responding to comments about how long it takes to walk across the airport.
Yeah, this is pretty funny. Take a listen.
Melissa writes, unless you have trained for a 5K, do not fly into the new SLC airport. You will pass out just trying to walk to the car rental center. Thanks, Melissa. If my math is correct, the walk is actually less than a 1K. The good news is that you can actually walk to the car rental counters because unlike most major airports, our car rentals are on site.
I tell you, Alana came back here and said that's like a 10K out there at the airport.
I mean, God, we know I'm dramatic, but it is a long. I love that man.
If his math is correct, it's less than a 1K, Alana.
Okay, you still break a sweat, so get your Panera. It's raining out there and cold.
Have a good night.
Stay safe.